On your whiteboard, please tell me, what year does Constantinople change its name to Istanbul? Good. Abby, what year? 1453. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what religion is Istanbul? Come on, this is an easy one. You shouldn't even need to know anything about history to know it. What is it? Payan? Islam. On your whiteboard, who sacked Constantinople in 1453? What is the name of the group of people here? It takes 2 names to get it right. Good. Not the Visigoths, that's Rome. Good. Who is it? Cal? Ottoman Turks. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the Byzantine land governing system? That land is divided amongst generals and help divide up the land. It is failing because of tax reform. What do you got, Ryan?
The theme system.
Theme system. Nice job. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the gentleman who is a Western European king who will gain the title of Holy Roman Emperor because of his assistance to the Pope? It's important because he's the first one post-Charlemagne. No, not Charlemagne. Who is it? Bronson. Otto the First. On your whiteboard, please tell me what. All right, let's go. All right, so yesterday we got to the investiture contest. Okay, it is important for 2 major reasons. It's the first time a pope has been challenged. You can raise your hand and tell me why that's significant, you think long term. You can raise your hand and tell me why. Gunnar.
Because there was a challenge to before, and it's the first time that someone's actually been challenged.
Okay, cool, but we got that from saying it's the first time it's been done. What?
It was basically a statement that he's not absolutely powerful.
And that he is not absolutely powerful. This is just husband and power. What is the long-term consequence of this? What future problems are we going to see here, ladies and gentlemen? Think about it. What is this show? Big picture. Tristan. Yeah, so it's going to decrease whose value, Tristan? The Pope's. It is important for you to understand the best time in the history of the world to be a Pope of Roman Catholicism is during the Middle Ages. Why? Why? Why is that?
Because you had so many different empires that all like pretty much did what you told them to.
Yes. You have complete control over every single thing. You control all the gold, you control all the money, you control spirituality in a whole continent. If you say you are condemned to hell, you would literally fall over in pieces and like your whole country would turn against you. On my word. It's pretty damn powerful, correct? Now when we think of the Pope today, Pope Francis, who's a pretty boss of a guy, if we're just being honest. Like he's like top notch. Pope John Paul is pretty cool. The guy in the middle, that's why he quit his job. But then, which has never happened before, so it's wild and crazy. Then now we have a really cool guy who is like, hey, do you guys? Catholic Church is just here to help you. That's awesome. Okay? That whole idea was unthinkable back in these times. It is important that you understand whatever the will of the Catholic Church wanted, they get. With his challenge of Pope Gregory VII's power, everything changes. Could you imagine the President of the United States, Donald Trump, bowing down to the Pope and saying, your will is my command? Could you imagine that? Absolutely not. We couldn't imagine that. We believe that there's a balance of power, correct? That no one has supreme power. It is challenged by this. This is a landmark thing. Just like you're due now. Your great schism, is that a transformative moment? This is a second transformative moment because all of a sudden government power, political power is on the rise. Spiritual power is on the decline. It's a big deal. All right, so just quickly, the Pope excommunicates Henry IV because he's challenging his power. Henry IV, did we get to this? Crawls on all hands and knees up a mountain, begs, please, that he's back in the church. The Pope laughs and says, oh my God, it's not that big of a deal, sure.
And Henry IV gets up off of his feet, walks back, gets in his wagon. He doesn't walk back. Gets in his little palace-y wagon thing, goes back, and he's like, what the hell was that all for? Is it a game, or is this can't possibly God's will? So he goes back and he says, you know what, screw you, church, I'm doing my own thing. Okay, it's the first direct challenge to the church. Yes?
So this is really kind of like the beginning of the separation from church and state.
Yes! Do you see how big it is? Okay, here in the United States, we couldn't imagine having Donald Trump as our political and spiritual leader, correct? No one bows at the altar of Donald Trump in a religious context because that's not who we are as people, correct? We believe that he's the leader of the free world. We believe that his laws and his actions we follow through because it's a piece of our fabric of our government. But we don't worship the man, do we? We don't worship George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. We show respect for them because that's what a political leader is. That's the separation of the two. All right, Frederick Barbarossa, also known as Redbeard. He is a big deal for the fact that he's just running around Europe conquering territory. Bye, Katie. Okay, he attempts to absorb the Lombardy, which is northern Italy. He doesn't really get it, though. The problem with him, and the biggest thing is it's the first time the popes limit political power. And that's what you need to know about Frederick Barbarossa. It is the first time a pope limits political power. So, on one side, we see Gregory VII, Pope Gregory VII, who is challenging the spiritual power, who's being challenged for spiritual power. On the other hand, we see the Pope getting involved in political power. Is this going to cause problems? If you're a king watching what's happening with Frederick Barbarossa, and the Pope literally saying, whoa, you're not allowed to take this territory, you're not allowed to be here, is that going to cause some problems? I don't know why I'm looking through my binoculars. Why is this going to cause problems with other popes, with other kings? Why? Gunnar? Absolutely. I have to now appease the will of a pope. Do you think that's what kings want to hear? No, absolutely not. So, what we're going to see is that we are going to see that popes are going to get more involved in politics. Write that down. Frederick Barbarossa is a perfect example of popes getting more involved into politics. Why are popes getting more involved into politics? After we just learned with the investiture contest, why are they getting more involved in politics, Patrick?
They want more power.
And they're losing power where?
In the spiritual.
A big star next to this. The investiture contest loses spiritual power for the Pope. The investiture contest loses spiritual power for the Pope, so the Pope is now making run at political power. And that's what Frederick Barbarossa is showing us. Is the Pope is trying to get in politically, no longer just dominate spiritually. I think we can all agree a spiritual control is deeper than a political control, correct? Whether you voted for Donald, or whether you can't vote, sorry. Whether you like Donald Trump or not, no one looks at Donald Trump and says, yes, he's our spiritual leader now, correct? But if you believe in God, Jesus, Allah, whoever, is that a more powerful pull than a political leader? Absolutely. So, the popes lose the high ground in spirituality, so where do they tackle next? Political, and that's where they're at. Alright, so, monarchy. So, this is what you need to write down. Do not try to write all this down. Write France. You need to write Capetians. Okay, that's it. France are now run by Capetians until period 5. So they're there for a while. Normans conquer England. So right, England or Normans conquer England, whatever you like. William the Conqueror conquers England. He's the only man in the history of the world to conquer England. Okay, the Romans couldn't do it. Hitler couldn't do it. Napoleon couldn't do it. The Mongols never got close. I mean, because, they're like in Asia, so it kind of makes sense. But William the Conqueror is the only human to ever conquer England. Is that a big deal? His family, his descendants, are ruling England till period 6, till today. Queen of England is a descendant of William the Conqueror. which is pretty boss. They are the longest ruling family in the history of the world. They're the longest run. All right, there you go. Italy is your next major country. So, please listen. They create the papal states. The papal states. Who can raise your hand and tell me what is a papal state? What is the papal state? Anyone not here been to... Who here has been to Italy? What is a papal state, Callie? What is a papal state, Callie? What's the name of it today? Help her out. Help her out. Ryan. It's the Vatican. The Vatican is its own country. Didn't you go to the Vatican when you went to Italy? Yeah, it's your own damn. They have a little wall. I've been there. Sorry, there's not many places I haven't, so when I come to a place, I get very excited. Okay, so I've been to the Vatican. If you've ever, who here has been to the Vatican? It's super cool, even if you're Catholic or not. It's crazy. The amount of wealth is insane. True, not true? Like, there's like marble everywhere, and the walls are just covered with art, just priceless art. It's insane. It's overwhelming. Anyway, the whole city is blocked off by this crazy wall. You have to go through little portholes through the wall to get into the Vatican. The Vatican is the smallest country in the world because it's only like 4 square miles or something ridiculous. And it is the wealthiest country for its size in the world because it's worth billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars because all their art's worth so much. Okay? So, papal states are territories that the Catholic Church dominates everything. Okay, a papal state is completely controlled by the Pope. Okay, in Vatican City, which you can go to today, the Pope can command everyone to lick their feet, and guess what you will do, my friends? You will pick up your feet. I don't know why that's the example I'm going with, but we're doing it. Okay, you're going to pick up your feet and you're going to lick your feet, and if you don't, technically the Pope could kill you if you wanted to, because the Pope has unlimited power in his little city. Okay, so what we're going to see is, do you think Vatican City was the first papal states were bigger or smaller than they are now? Bigger, significantly bigger. Why were they bigger back then than they are now, Bronson? Why?
Because Christianity is important.
You don't think Christianity is important now to the billions of Christians there are in the world? Why is the papal states previously significantly bigger than they are now? Think about it. Why, Patrick?
Because the Pope today has
Significantly less power, absolutely. Okay? Because religion was way more prominent back in the Middle Ages than it is today, correct? I don't think we wake up every single day. Most of us don't wake up every single day saying, oh man, can't wait to get to church today, right? Can't wait to drop my money in the little bin and support the church, correct? Hello? Most of us, due to the Protestant Reformation, believe that God is all around us, whatever God you believe in, correct? So you don't necessarily have to go to a building in order to pray and speak to him, correct? Is that going to increase the church's wealth or decreases the church's wealth? Decrease, and that's what we're going to see a major turn. All right, here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of the Pope whose authority is challenged by Henry the Fourth. Is that yours? Come on! Henry the Fourth can't be challenged by Henry the Seventh. Who is it, kid? Pope Gregory the Seventh. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of the only gentleman to conquer the country of England. And his descendants rule today. It's a pretty boss name. You can't just say William because there's too many damn Williams in history. There are a few things you have to clarify. Nisha! William the Conqueror. On your whiteboard, please tell me who conquers and rules France till period 5. Because all their heads get chopped off during the French Revolution. Who are they? Audie. The Capetians. On your whiteboard, please tell me what do we call countries that are directly controlled by the Pope, and they have a majority of Central Italy, not Asia. Asia is not Christian at all. Abby! Papal states. On your whiteboard, William the Conqueror is from France originally. His people are called what? Good. Daniel. Normans. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the gentleman whose conquests are directly interfered by a pope? And this shows us the transition from the pope from a spiritual power to a political power. Who is it? Let's go. 4, 5. Who is it? Greta. Frederick the First. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the first challenge to a pope's authority called? What do we call the first challenge to the pope's authority? Jing Hao, this is what happens when you don't come to class on time. Good. What do we got, Peyton? Investiture conquest. What modern day countries on the Iberian Peninsula? You can raise your hand. Just raise your hand because I'm moving forward. What country, Tristan? Spain and? There you go. So the Iberian Peninsula, at this point in history, where we are, who is on it? The Moors are on it. They get pushed back. Who can raise their hand by telling me who pushes the Moors back to Iberian Peninsula? Gunner. Charles Martel. So on the Iberian Peninsula, we got Muslims controlling at least the southern part of it. Okay? We are going to see the Christians are going to try to reconquest it. Why is this such a big thing for Christians? Think about it. Why is the idea of kicking the Muslims off of the Iberian Peninsula a massive Christian idea? Daniel?
Spread Christianity.
To a degree. To a degree. Tristan? Shows their power, their rising power, because who's been the dominant force during this time so far? Would we say the Europeans are really impressive during this time? No. Who's impressive? The Muslims. Absolutely. They've got massive cities. They're making crazy money in gold. We got the Mongols doing some crazy wild things over there. The Europeans are playing with sticks and fighting over religion. Would we say that's really impressive? No. So the reason why it's a big deal is because they want to purify the country, the continent of Europe. Sounds like a lot of things that are happening today in 2017, right? We have a lot of xenophobists here in 2017 in Europe who want to purify and get all the Muslims and all the immigrants out of countries. Yes? Have we heard this rhetoric in 2017? Yes. This fundamentally comes back to the Reconquista, which is what we're talking about. The Reconquista is the removal of Muslims from Spain and reorganizing. You should have heard of the Reconquista, yes? All right, so agricultural changes in Europe. This is kind of a big deal. We have more arable land. We are getting rid of swamps and forests. We start 3 major crop inventions. Crop rotation. We plant 1 field, we plant 2 fields a year, and then the next year we plant one of the plants we laid fallow. Have you ever heard of this? What do you people do, Annie? Have you heard of crop rotation? Okay? Alright, so the 3-field system is a new piece of technology. So we plant this one, we plant this one, we lay this one fallow, which means it's empty. We allow our cows, our goats, our pigs to graze on it. What does graze mean? Tristan?
Go around the grass.
Yeah, and what else do they do in the grass if they're eating the grass?
They
They poop in the grass. And why is pooping in the grass a big deal, Tristan? Why would I point it out? Huh? Fertilize it. So, we plant, we harvest. Next year, we allow this one fallow. We plant this one, and this fallow field is planted. Why would we do this? Why? Patrick?
It makes the land more fertile.
Absolutely. We're going to get higher crop rotations. Also, we have specific crop rotation and field rotation. So, what crops take the most nutrients out of the ground? Does anyone know? Think about it. What type of typical European crops do you think take the most nutrients out of the soil? Oh my God, guys, what the hell have you learned? Do you guys not talk about farming in previous classes? It's a foundation of Okay, wheat takes a lot of nutrients out of soil, correct? Think about how many nutrients we get from bread, how many carbs Carbs take a lot of stuff to build all those stuff, to build all that energy saving stuff that we have. So crop rotation, if we plant this field wheat, the next year we'll plant it with onions. Okay? Why? Gunner. Onions don't take a lot. So the next year we're going to grow carrots, which start adding more nutritional value. The more nutrition a crop has, the more nutrition it takes from the soil. If you keep growing the same crops in the same place, you're going to start having smaller crops. Okay, we also have horse collars. Why are horse collars a big deal, Cade? A horse collar. Why do you think horse collars are important on farming, Cade? Guys, come on. There's not much I could do if you can't get, like, basics here. Elizabeth. Yes, they plow. They're easier. Would you rather plow a field by hand or plow with a horse? With a horse. Do you think it's easy to control a horse or hard to control a horse? Hard, absolutely. Can you imagine trying to organize the machine and control the horse at the same damn time? No, it is very hard. Still, the Amish, this is how they do it. They do it by horse collars. Horse collar, you have to still hold the machine. Does it take a lot of strength or a little strength? That's a lot because you got to plow, get down into the field and plow. It's a huge undertaking, but you can turn an acre in a week, while beforehand by hand it would take almost a month to plow an acre of land. What does that get us, Audie? If we can plow a field in a week that used to take us a month, what does that get us? More crops, which means what? More food, more population, which is why Europe's population soars. Okay, so all of a sudden we start having urbanization. People don't want to be farming their whole lives. Can you imagine if your only option was to farm? Would you leave your town too? I would. I'm not a farming girl. Apparently I know a lot more about farming than most, but I'm not a farming girl. So urbanization, people are moving into the cities everywhere, including in Europe. Okay, specialization of labor is coming back. Feudalism is still thriving. Because of that, we have surplus of crops. Whenever we have surplus of crops, we have more trade every single time. So when Europe increases their agricultural techniques, we get a surplus of food. Guess what happens? More people go to the cities every single time. Period 1, when we had the development of farming, guess what people started doing? Moving to cities. Now we have a second agricultural revolution. Now people are moving to cities. There you go. So Italy is going to dominate Mediterranean and European trade. Italy makes all the money off of European trade with Silk Road goods, ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever wondered why Italy has all this art, culture, why the Renaissance starts there? No, we've never thought twice about it. The reason is because they have money hand over fist. Why? Because all the Italians are the ones moving goods from the Middle East to Asia, to Europe, I mean. The Hanseatic League is the first trading union in the history of the world. It is between Poland, Northern Germany, and Scandinavia. Only thing you need to know, it's the first one in the league, and it's Northern Europe. What that means is they only trade with the people in this league. That's it. So by refusing to trade with other people, it forces them to be better. Okay. Social. We have the 3 estates. Obviously, everything in Europe is still based on what government system, Jamal? What government system is everything based on? Feudalism. There you go. Chivalry is still your code of conduct. Okay? Everything's based on Christianity. Knights are dedicated their life, protect women. Okay? Just listen. You should be familiar with this stuff. Troubadours are wandering around spreading art and poetry and stuff like that. Are people really writing down these things? So is European art dead? No. But is it blossoming like everywhere else in the world? No. We have troubadours walking around. Some cultural ideas are being spread by women because they're the ones hosting parties. We have the ideas of romantic love, knights in shining armors, all that crap. Yes, that's all Middle Ages theories. All right, we start having independent cities, which aren't a big deal. Guilds are a big deal. Guilds are trade unions. Okay? They control the urban economy. So, say for instance, Elizabeth's a candle maker, right, Elizabeth? In your city, do you want you're a master candle maker. Meilu doesn't have any skills, doesn't have any trading talent, no offense, but she wants to open a candle shop because she doesn't think it's that hard. Is that a good thing for your business or a bad thing for your business? Very bad thing for your business. So we have guilds that are set up. Listen, it'll make more sense in a second. Okay? Elizabeth wants to limit the competition her candle shop has in town, correct? She doesn't want another rival candlestick maker who's going to offer cheaper products at a cheaper price, correct? Because that'll drive down her prices and hurt her business. So with a guild, she joins with other people in her community, other like the wine maker, the cheese maker, the barrel maker. They all join together and say, we want to allow another business to come in here unless we approve. Does that give them power? Does that control their prices? Does that start a foundation of a secure economy? How European economy, Western Europe economy gets on its feet is through guilds. I'd write that down. Western economy gets on their feet via guilds. Craftsmen join together to build stronger local economies. Okay, women are existing. Sometimes we forget that women are doing things too. Women are existing, obviously, especially during Middle Ages in Europe. Women are dainty flowers who need to be protected. Is this an increase for women or a decrease for women? Decrease. Actually, we do lose some power here in the Middle Ages because we're dainty flowers and need to be protected. They are going to start doing making money at home, selling products. That's a big deal. You need to write that down. Women are making products at home and selling them at market. So, say for instance, Raina's baking cakes at home today. And instead of only baking 2 cakes like she needs to feed her family for the next 2 days, she bakes 3. Guess what you're going to do with that surplus, Raina? Sell it. And Greta's waiting all day to buy your cake, man, because it's the best in town. All right. Education, you need to write this down, is being started by the Catholic Church. Who here went to Catholic school? Anyone? Yeah. You have a good time? It really hasn't changed much. It really hasn't changed much. Okay, so during the Middle Ages, we start having the first Catholic schools. Why would the Catholic Church start Catholic schools? What do they need? No. What?
They educate people.
How do what?
Like,
Why does no one does anything for fun, people? For the fact that you have a free public education, do you think it's because people want you to know how to, like, Shakespeare and all that crap? Do you think that's why you have a free education, why the United States spends hundreds of billions of dollars on your free education? No, the reason is because they don't want you to be an idiot and not be able to carry a job because you can't do basic functions, ladies and gentlemen. No one does anything for free. No one's like, oh, I want to make sure that you know how to do math. No. Public education started here in the United States to make sure people weren't morons and they could hold a job. Because if you're uneducated, you can't even hold a basic job, correct? You can't do basic math, right? Doing basic math, you're useless. And you can't do a damn thing and you're a burden on society, hence why we have public education. So why would the Catholic Church start education? Why would they do it, Tristan?
They get power. They can teach people that, like, they can teach them about their religion, kind of.
Okay, absolutely, they're going to teach them. They need people to read the Bible, correct? The more people that they employ, the more people they have out and about in public, which means more control. Okay? If I had one priest in our town, that priest is going to be watching out and trying to make sure that Christianity is a big deal, Catholicism, correct? If I have 5 priests in that town, what is definitely going to be important? Catholicism, correct? Okay, the more power you have, the more people you have. So, and during the middle class, this is an important fun fact. Your most educated group of people are going to be what social class? No. Upper class don't get educated until post-Renaissance. You're middle class. Why would merchant kids need an education? Raise your hand. Why? Why would a merchant kid need an education, Audie?
So they can spread their religion.
Ah! Okay, don't be so idealistic. Do you have a religion, of course, correct? Do you wake up every day and be like, oh man, can't wait to spread? No. But you're a merchant kid. Your dad's a merchant. Why would you need to be educated? Why would Audie's dad, who is a merchant, need it? Ryan.
Because like then he could keep his log books up and down.
Okay, so imagine running a business and not knowing how to do write and do math. How's that going to go? Pretty terrible, correct? So your most educated class is going to be your middle class. Is that a weird thing? Absolutely, because here in 2017, who's your most educated? Your upper class. Your wealthy are your most educated, so it's an important note. Why doesn't the upper class need to be educated? Hi, I need a hand. Thank you kindly. What do you got, Dylan? Why don't you think the upper class need to be educated?
Because they already have a lot of money, so they don't really need to work.
Okay, so what are the best jobs you can get, Dylan? It's all by birth, correct?
Yeah.
So,
If you're like dad's already powerful in the government.
what is the government?
It's a king. It's nobles.
Mm-hmm.
Feudal society.
It's a feudal society. So, how do you learn to run your land? You watch your dad.
Yeah.
Do you need to know how to read and write to do cattle? To make sure the harvest is going out on time? To collect? Not really. If you watch your dad in your upper class, you can do exactly what your dad did. Because how did your dad learn? His dad. How did his dad learn? His dad. So, upper class, they don't get educated until post-Renaissance, and at that point, it's just kind of a cool thing to do. Okay? During the Middle Ages, it's only your middle class because they're the ones who need education because they need to be able to read and write in order to balance their books. All right, to the boards. Here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what do we call... What is the code of conduct for nobles and knights in the Middle Ages? It's based on Christianity. Let's go. Jing Hao, you should know this because you have been here for this. Munson. Chivalry. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the first trading union in the history of the world? What is the first trading union? Jing Hao, you should know this. You were here. What is it, Daniel? On your whiteboard, please tell me, give me 3 things that improved population. Give me 3 things that are going to improve population. Good. Bronson, give me 3.
Crop rotation, new crops, and horse colors.
There you go. All right, on your whiteboard, please tell me what is the few artists that are wandering around the Middle Ages. What do we call the few artists that are traveling around the Middle Ages? We have very few records of them because, frankly, they're poor people wandering. Who are they, Krishma? Troubadours. On your whiteboard, please tell me who is the most educated class during the Middle Ages? Who's the most educated class? Who are they? Cade. Middle class. On your whiteboard, please tell me who is educating people during the Middle Ages. Who is the only entity educating? I got 1, 2. Good. Who is it? Belu. The Catholic Church. So, universities are popping up. Universities are strictly for what? Universities are strictly for what type of people? Who can raise their hand? We're behind. Abby. Now, why would a merchant need to go to university? They just need to know how to read, write, balance their books. What type of people are going to need to go to university? What do you got?
Educated,
Yes, only educated people.
Highly educated.
Okay, like?
Scholars or scientists.
Hi, there's not many scientists kicking it during this time, man.
Teachers.
Others, to a degree. What do you got, Adi?
Government.
Huh? Government officials. It's your church officials. It's your church. Universities are started by the. So who should be the only people really yet that's there? It's going to be your academics. Your academics are all church officials at this point, ladies and gentlemen. If you wanted to learn how to read, you signed up for the church. Aristotle is the big guy behind all the education. Just be aware of it. St. Thomas Aquinas, he's the scholastic dude. Let's just be familiar with it. We have Virgin Mary is going to raise the population. Okay, we have some issues about poverty, popular heresy. People are challenging the church. Just listen. We start having people. All right, crusading orders. So we are going to have religious Christians form military religious orders. We have the Templars, the Knights Templars. Have you heard of them? Okay, we've all seen National Treasure, correct? No. What the hell do you people? I don't even care. So they vow to oppose Islam, of course. So once we start having Sicily gets invaded by the Muslims, does that make all the Europeans nervous? Yes, because Sicily is a part of what country? Italy. And where's the Pope live? Italy. So it makes people nervous. So all of a sudden we have the beginning of the Crusades. You need to write this down. This is clearly a transformative thing. So Pope Urban II. Do you think you need to know his name? Yes, he's the guy who calls for the Crusades. Every once in a while it's on Jeopardy, so now you know the answer. Pope Urban II is the first to demand the liberation of Jerusalem from the Muslims. He commands all people, all Christians, to go to the Holy Land, kill Muslims, and take over the Holy Land. God wills it, which is one of my favorite expressions. Thomas Aquinas, which is a school here, but there's also a bunch of them throughout the country. In Massachusetts, we had one, and their cheer was "God wills it," which is literally the cry the Christians would have as they were marching into battle to kill the Muslim. God wills it. No? Okay. All right. So the First Crusade. Put a star next to it. The only successful one for Christians. The First Crusade, the Christians capture Jerusalem, and it's the only one that happens. Okay, so they take over the city. There's 9 total crusades. Stop and listen for a second. So the First Crusade, the Muslims took over Jerusalem. Pope Urban II says, God wills it, go kill them. So all the Christians march across Europe, go to Jerusalem, and kill the Muslims. They take the city. And then it falls again. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. Goodbye.